Hey folks, it's Indieguy. Oh boy, the first episode of HROT just dropped on the 29th of January. And I guess we could take a look at the early access build. I mean, it isn't like I have anything better to do.
We had a deal on Funny Guy. Now, review the game I gave you.
Why should I? I said that I'd return to this game, and here I am. Now, is HROT Slavjank? Nah, not really. Why did I put it in title then? Well, you have to understand, I need views. Anyways, HROT is a boomer shooter that takes heavy influences from games like Quake and Duke Nukem, to the point that one of the enemies is a carbon copy of the ogres from Quake. In all fairness though, the ogres can act a little bit different, doing considerably more melee attacks, but the design and the attack patterns are pretty much the same. I don't think it's a bad thing though, it just shows that the dev really likes older games. But what is HROT's story? Well, does it even fucking matter? The only thing you need to know is that the game takes place in Czechoslovakia in 1986, after a certain nuclear disaster happened in modern day Ukraine. This is a boomer shooter, you don't actually need to know the game's story.
It was you who caused... Wait a minute, what are you doing? Why aren't you reviewing the game that Brian gave you?
You could say he got the big fuck. I don't know, that doesn't really sound that good for the BFG, what would you say?
You idiot. You have no idea what you're doing, you absolute
Okay, carrying on. The game is really good. So good that the indie boomer shooter publisher New Blood Interactive actually advertised their game, despite the fact that HROT is self-published. That is how good it is. But anyways, what's so special about this Slav boomer shooter? Well, the gameplay is really fast and smooth, kind of a no rocket jump version of Quake. And yes, I know you can rocket boost, but I don't think that's really rocket jumping. The only thing that I think is wrong with the gameplay is the weapon sounds. I still think they sound like wet farts, even after being updated. But in terms of weapons, there is a good number of them. There's the pistol that you can dual wield. There's also the SMG, the shotgun, the rocket launcher, the lightning gun, and what I think is the most interesting gun in the game, the Hussite shotgun, which is literally a very powerful hand cannon used in the Hussite wars in the 15th century in Bohemia. And now with the latest update, you also get two new weapons, the SSG,
Nice fucking model!
and the literal equivalent of a BFG to the game. They're both really good, and I think they sound actually good, despite the rest of the guns sounding like hot garbage. In terms of things to shoot at, there's quite a lot of them. But what's most important is that Horseboy is back, baby. But what really shines are the boss designs. They are really amazingly dumb. Like the first one is a big ass gorilla with rocket launchers for hands. But that's not all. Remember that I said that it took inspiration from games like Duke Nukem? Well, you can interact with your surroundings in creative ways, like playing with a matryoshka, a pool table, or even a playground. And that's only in the first level. Admittedly, it does mellow down a little bit after that level, but it's always a pleasure to kiss Gustav Husak's beautiful communist face. There is also an endless mode. It didn't really change that much, but now there are more weapons, items, and explosives. It's fun and all, but it's a little bit repetitive, like any good endless mode. Although this one seems to be a little bit easier on hard mode, mostly because heavier hitting weapons like the BFG and the SSG spawn a little bit more frequently, but that could also be the RNG talking. Now, on to the points where I think HROT isn't as good. The color palette for this game is pretty limited, being a mix of browns, greens, and dying reds, but mostly browns that can become really boring. It kind of adds a horror atmosphere, but it's not as good as King Kong, for example. But I gotta say, the urban settings, in my opinion, are very good. Also, there's the problem of the difficulty. I'm not being a pussy and saying it's too hard, or a liar saying it's too easy. I'm saying that at times it can be a little bit unfair, mostly due to the amount of ammo that you are given, which sometimes is really not enough. In the end of the day, should you buy HROT? In my opinion, yes, but you should also wait. It's fun, it works well, and it has enough soul for it to be the major selling point for the game. Still, when you compare it to established indie boomer shooters, there's not really that much yet. Final verdict for me is really hard, but I'll have to go for a 7 out of 10. The game is still in early access, so I'll come back when the next major update rolls out. And hopefully by then it can rival those established indie boomer shooters like a Medieval and Dusk. Something that I don't think it can do just yet. It needs something extra. But well, that's it. See ya.
You bastard, do you have any idea of what you've done? You doomed humanity.
Meh, doesn't really affect me. We're in hell, remember? That right there is Gemeos. I thought you knew that by now. But how are you still alive?
No humanity means no GOG games.
Okay, that might be an issue. Or a cure. I don't know, but what can we do?
Go into the portal and follow my lead.
Sure, yeah, I love going through portals to God knows where.